Hi guys, and welcome back to my course. In this video, we will learn how to create components. So what is a component? Component lets you split the UI into independent reusable pieces. A component is a JavaScript class or function that optionally accepts some data and returns a React element that describes how a section of the UI should appear. In this video, we will talk about functional components. So if you see here, this piece of code is an individual unit which represents a block card. So we can extract it or convert it into a component. So let's give it a try. Let's create a new file here. Let's say blockcard.js. We are creating a function-based component, so let's create a function. Let's say constant blockcard is equal to, let's give it an anonymous arrow function. A component defines part of UI, so this function needs to return some JSX. So let's add a return statement here. And inside this return statement, let's just put this code. So now this function-based component will return these JSX elements. Now we don't have access to item here, so let's just remove and put some static data right now. So let's say blog title and blog description. All right, so any idea why we're getting these errors? If you remember, in one of the previous videos, I told you that Babel converts the JSX code to create element expressions, which uses the React module. So to work with JSX, we need to import React module from the React library. So we can simply do import React from React. Okay, so now our component is ready, the error is gone, everything's fine. But how do we use it in other files? Well, we can simply import it, just like we imported the React module. But before your component can be imported, first you need to export it. Now there are two ways we can export a module: default export and named export. We use default export when we want to export only one thing from a file, and we use named export when we want to export multiple things from the same file. We will talk more about export and imports in the coming videos, but for now just remember that this is the basic concept. So in this case, we just want to export one component, which is blog card, so we can use the default export. Now the syntax for default export is export followed by keyword default followed by a module name. In this case, our component name, which is blog card. So this line of code will export our blog card, and now we can import it in other files. So let's say this is where we want to use it. So to import it, we can simply do import the name of the component, say blog card, from and the relative path of our module. So dot / it was right next to it, so blog card. So whenever you are importing a JavaScript file, you don't need to write .js, it is automatically added. Okay, so now we've imported the module and it's ready to use. Let's just comment these for now. And to use it, you can simply treat it as a JSX tag. So angle brackets, blog card, self-closing tag. So this is a self-closing tag because it does not require any child components. So let's save it. Let's check our browser. So as you can see, we've got three cards here with the same title because we've hard-coded this value here. But the thing to notice is we've got three components which are being rendered from our block card component. Again, if you see, we're getting this warning that each child in a list should have a unique key. So coming back to app.js, now this is the first element which is directly inside the return statement. So you have to add the key here. So let's say key and position. So coming back, as you can see, the error is gone. Now, if you try to inspect this in the browser, it wouldn't show you block card component. It will show you the HTML element inside that component. So going to elements, and now if I try to hover here, so as you can see, there's no tag which says block card, but instead we've got the tags which were inside the block card. We've got the div, the h3, and the paragraph. So that's how you create functional components. So let's do a quick recap. So we created a new file. We imported the React module from React library because whenever you work with JSX, so behind the scenes, it's getting converted to react.createElement. And for that, you need to have this React module imported. So we just created a function which is returning some JSX. So this is a function-based component. And to make it available in other files, we export it. So there were two types of exports. We will talk more about that. And here we use the default export because we just wanted to export one item from this file, block card. And the syntax was export, followed by default, followed by our component name, which was block card. So this made our component ready to use in other files. We wanted to use it in app.js, so we imported it here. So import followed by your component name from and the relative path of that component. So it was imported and ready to use. So inside this map, so this is where we wanted to use it. And to use it, we can treat it simply as a JSX tab. So angle brackets and your component name. And this is a self-closing tab because we weren't expecting any child components here. So whenever you call this or whenever you use this component, it will just return these sets of React elements to you. And that's all for today. I hope this gave you a better understanding of components. But if you have any doubts or queries, feel free to drop a comment below or reach out to me on Twitter. I'll add my Twitter handle in the description below. See you in the next video. Bye and take care. Hi guys and welcome back to my course. In this video we will learn about props. In the previous video we created this block card component. Now this is a static component. It just renders the same structure and data every time we use it. So over here as you can see, it's rendering 3 cards, but all 3 are same. To fully utilize the power of components, we need this component to generate different components based on different data. This is where props come into picture. If you remember, when we were working with Babel, we talked about how all the properties get converted to an object, and that object is passed as the second argument in the create element method of React. Let's check it out. So heading to Babel.js, so babeljs.io. So this is the component that we have. So block card, it's a self-closing element. As you can see here, it's converted to react.createElement, etc., etc. So if we pass something here, say title is equal to block title, the second argument appears here as an object, and inside that object, this property is converted into key value pair. Similarly, if we add another, say description is equal to, say blog description, so we get another property. Similarly, if we add more, say cover pic is equal to some URL, so we get a third key value pair here. So if you notice, whatever we are passing here is getting converted into an object and it's being passed to this create element method. So what this method does is it passes the same object to our block card. So we can pass anything to the component. It could be a string, number, arrays, objects, even function references. So to pass down some data to a component, we simply add it as properties here. So Babel, it combines all these properties into an object, and that object is passed down to your component as an argument. So let's give it a try. So coming here, so let's say title, let's say test title, let's save it. So coming back to block card, so this is a function. So as I mentioned earlier, that object is passed as an argument. So let's just say properties, and let's try printing it. So console log, say properties. Let's save it, and coming back to the browser. So as you can see, it's printed 3 times because our component is rendered 3 times. So if you see here, we're getting an object, and inside that object, we've got title. Similarly, if we add another key here, say description, say test description, let's save it, let's check our console. And as you can see, we get another property in that object called description. Now all these objects are getting the same value, but we know inside these objects, we've got different values for different cards. So we can simply use these objects to pass down values. So instead of hard coding it, we can do item.title. Similarly, we can do item.description. Let's save it and let's check it out. And now as you can see, we're getting different titles for all these three objects. So coming back to block card, so now this properties is an object. To access values, we can simply do properties dot something. So in this case, to access title, we can do properties dot title, and to access description, we can do properties dot description. So let's give it a try. So again, we're working inside JSX, and to embed some expressions, we use curly braces, properties dot title. Same thing for description. So properties dot description. Let's save it. Let's check the browser. Now, as you can see, all these cards have different data, which is being passed down to it as props. Similarly, say we had another value here. Say we also wanted to pass down ID. So we can simply do item.id. Let's save it. And as you can see, inside this props object, we also get ID. And this ID has a value number. This properties object that we're using here is called props. It is just a standard to name the argument as props for function components. So let's change it. And we need to refactor our code. We need to replace all these properties with props. Okay, all done. Let's check our code. Okay, so everything's working fine. So as you can see, you can call it anything you want, but it's just a standard to call it props. So this is how you pass data to your components. So whatever you write here as properties, it gets converted into an object, props, and to access it, you can simply do props dot whatever is the property name that you gave here. So title, description, ID. So if you had a class name here, say blog, so as you can see, even that class name is getting passed down. So if you're wondering why this key is not passed down, so if you open this key is not a part of that object directly. You cannot access it. The key is here for React. So that's why you cannot access it. So if you try printing, say, props.key, you'll get undefined. So reverting it back, and everything's working fine. And that's a wrap for today. I hope this gave you a better understanding of props. But if you have any doubts or queries, feel free to drop a comment below or reach out to me on Twitter. I'll add my Twitter handle in the description below. See you in the next video. Bye and take care.